Oleksandr Usyk is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Incredible. What did you think of the fight? Amazing. And Tyson Fury, out on his feet, should have been stopped. I think he was robbed, wasn't he? Should have been a knockout. Why does Tyson Fury always get in trouble, always get himself on the verge of being stopped, and then the referee lets it carry on? I'm a Tyson Fury fan, but in that first fight with Wilder, when he was knocked down badly and given the benefit of the doubt when it came to recovering, and then again Ngannou put him down in his recent fight. I'm not saying that should have been stopped, but he always seems to get himself in trouble. And a different athlete, a different boxer, I think, on the receiving end of that kind of punishment would be stopped. But because it's Tyson Fury, he seems to get treated differently. He has that preferential treatment. If Usyk had been out on his feet and wobbling all over the place like that, I think the referee would have stepped in and given Fury the stoppage victory. But anyway, we've got an undisputed heavyweight champion, the first time since Lennox Lewis 25 years ago. And part of the reason that it's been such a long time since we had a undisputed heavyweight champion is because of the Klitschko's, the previous Ukrainian heavyweight champions of the world, who had all the belts at one point but refused to fight each other. It was very difficult to get all the belts unified. And this is the first unified, undisputed heavyweight champion of the four belt era. When Lennox Lewis beat Evander Holyfield at the second time of asking, after their controversial draw the first time, when they fought that second time, there was only 3 belts on the line. The WBO belt wasn't considered recognised by the other sanctioning bodies. So you only needed the IBF, WBA and WBC at the time. And that's how Lennox Lewis became undisputed. I think one of the Klitschko's had the WBO belt at the time, even back then. I think that's where the other belt was, but it wasn't recognised. So what does it mean to be an undisputed champion and have all 4 belts in the era of the alphabet soup of different sanctioning bodies? And I'm trying to think back, the first time that these sanctioning bodies split and we had more than one heavyweight champion, I think it's around the time of Muhammad Ali, when he was sent into exile for refusing to fight in Vietnam, and Joe Frazier came in, swept the board and won the title in an eliminator competition, became the heavyweight champion. But I think that's when the belt split and Jimmy Ellis won a different version of the world title. I think the oldest belt is the WBA. And then at some point in the 1960s, the WBC split off. Because there used to be something like, is it the USB? That sounds like a memory stick. Like the United States governing body was kind of seen as the whole world, the world championship. But the WBA is the oldest. Then it's the WBC, which Tyson Fury had around his waist until last night. And the WBC is sometimes seen as the most prestigious belt. Like if you had to pick one, a lot of people say, yeah, the WBC is the one. But WBA is the oldest, then it's the WBC, then the IBF came after that, and the WBO, the most recent. And that's why this is the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the 4-belt era, and he's a Ukrainian. He's done what the Klitschko's couldn't do. Well, not one of them on their own anyway. He's unified all the belts. And they will go on the line again, presumably, if Tyson takes the rematch. He said he wants to. Who wouldn't want to, with all that money at stake? and they are talking about October this year. That seems very quick turnaround for boxing, which is notoriously bad when it comes to organising things and getting things done. It can take a very long time, but maybe they'll go at it again in October. Can you see it going differently? I guess the fight was up in the air during the match. Tyson Fury was ahead early. Usyk looked in trouble at some point. I guess it could go the other way, but I don't think Tyson Fury will be able to motivate himself to get back in shape. He's one of these fighters, kind of like a heavyweight version of Ricky Hatton, who gets in shape and then falls out of shape, puts the weight on and then loses it again when it's time to compete, which is not a good way to do it. That takes a lot of toll on the body. So even though Usyk is a couple of years older than Fury, I think in terms of wear and tear on the body and the punishment that he's put himself through, biologically, Tyson Fury is probably a little bit older, a little bit more weary in that sense. So I don't know what we'll see in October. I guess so. Who could resist watching it again? But what I would like to see is Oleksandr Usyk defend the belt against someone else. Let's have someone else have a chance, a crack at the title. Someone like Joseph Parker, who was a WBO champion until he lost the belt to AJ. I think he deserves a crack at a world title. There's a few heavyweights in the mix that it would be good to see, but it feels like we're coming to the end of an era in the heavyweight division, with Fury looking to be on the decline. Usyk has done it all. His manager said it when he won the Undisputed Cruiserweight championship, the 200-pound weight limit belts. For a lot of people, that would be time to retire, time to quit. And he carried on and did the same at heavyweight. Incredible achievement. I really almost can't put it into words how much Oleksandr Usyk has achieved. He's won a hell of a lot of money, and he doesn't seem to be one of these guys that is about the money. And Fury originally used to sound like that. He used to say, "Oh, I can live in my caravan, simple life, pick my kids up from school, take the bins out," and that would be enough for him. But then for some reason, he started talking about it's all about the money. How much money can you offer me? I'm not getting in the ring unless it's X amount. Even last night, when Fury came out to the ring second, as the champion should, and when you've got two champions, who should come out to the ring second? I almost thought, I bet Fury made that like a stipulation. I'm not getting in the ring unless I come out second. I'm the champion. He's the challenger. He's got to take the belts off me. Although he only had one belt, the WBC. So will the money lure him back in? Will Usyk retire regardless of the money? You've got a rematch contract clause, but if you don't need the money, you don't need the fight. I couldn't blame Oleksandr Usyk if he just rode off into the sunset now with all four belts around his waist. But yeah, it would be great to see a few title defences. Let someone else come and have a crack at it. And I'm already reading in the news today speculation about how much money could be made for the rematch. Is that what it's boiled down to? Is that really what professional boxing or sport in general has become about? How much money is on offer? That's why these fights are happening in Saudi Arabia, because they can afford it, because they are cashing in on this sport. It's not a boxing nation, is it? Even the atmosphere in the arena looked a bit vacuous. And I was watching the fight with my brother. He said, "This looks like Eurovision." And it was quite funny when Usyk was coming out in his traditional gear, and music. It looked more like the Eurovision Song Contest than the heavyweight championship of the world. And that's just the direction things are going in. The Middle East can afford to buy boxing heavyweight championships, or the World Cup, or football clubs. That's where the money is. Is it good for the sport? I guess we've had more heavyweight championships and heavyweight contests in recent years than previously. I know I said these boxers have issues when it comes to signing contracts and getting people in the ring, and some top fighters can go 18 months without lacing up a glove, but the money from Saudi has got them in the ring. So I guess that is a good thing. But I would like to see someone like Joseph Parker be given the opportunity that he deserves. And the belts are all in one place now. Usyk is the man. But for how long? How long is it going to be before the IBF say, well, we're going to strip you because you're not going to face our number one mandatory challenger? That was the case when Fury became unified world champion back in 2015, late 2015, when he dethroned Klitschko for 3 out of the 4 belts. And very soon, the IBF stripped him. And I think that may have been part of what sent him into his spiral of depression. You've just won 3 world title championships and one of them's been taken off you. For what? Because you can't face a number one challenger, because you're signed into a rematch clause, a contract with Vladimir Klitschko. Fury was contracted to fight Klitschko for a second time, and it never happened, even though we were all looking forward to it. And that was when it sort of felt like, in order to win the world title, you've got to win it twice. And that's what Oleksandr Usyk had to do against Anthony Joshua to win his title, was to really be recognised as the world champion. He had to win it twice, and he did, convincingly, on points. And that's why the first loss that AJ had, Andy Ruiz, it kind of went under the radar. We forgot about it because AJ won the rematch. So now Usyk is faced with a rematch clause to face Tyson Fury again. I can see it going the same way, but depends which Tyson Fury shows up. And whatever happens, take nothing away from Oleksandr Usyk. What a hero to his country. I was reading criticism of him yesterday in the press, I think in The Guardian, possibly, about how he had been accused of being a Putin apologist. A man who went to the front line when his country was invaded by Russia. He was accused of being a Putin apologist because at the time he made appeals for peace. He said, Russia, if you consider us brotherly countries, stop this invasion. And the real hardcore Ukrainian nationalists don't like that. They don't want to hear anything about brotherly love between two similar countries that have shared history together. And he's a very religious man, deeply religious, is Usyk. He's a member of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine that is loyal to the Patriarch in Moscow. It's the church, if I'm correct, as I understand it, the church they tried to ban in Ukraine, that is prevalent in the southern and eastern parts of Ukraine. And Usyk was born in Crimea, which at the time was part of Ukraine, up until the 1930s was part of Russia, and is again today part of Russia. So he's a proud Ukrainian. He waves the flag. He fought on the front line, but he's from the part of Ukraine, former Ukraine, current Russia, where there are cultural ties and very close links between Russian and Ukrainian people. He reached out to the Russian people for peace and called them his brothers. And for that reason, he was looked upon as some kind of Putin puppet, Ukrainian, but not Ukrainian enough. Well, he is a proud Ukrainian. He's a proud Christian. And I think every Ukrainian should be proud of Oleksandr Usyk and all that he has achieved. He's the new, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Please subscribe to the